Okay, this video we're going to quickly review this question. It says 21 young men got a quote for the cost of a car insurance policy. The policy cost and ages of the men are shown in the scatter plot. Select all the statements that are true based on the scatter plot. So we have two really important pieces of information. We have this equation, we have a slope of about negative 315, and then we have the y-intercept of about 8,986. On the graph, we want to pay special attention to the units of our axes. We have age on the x-axis, and we have car insurance policy cost in dollars on the y-axis. So when you start driving, you need to buy a car insurance policy, and then whatever company you go to, for example, Geico is a car insurance company, they will give you a quote or a dollar amount that you'll pay each month to be able to drive your car, to be insured in case you get in a car accident or something happens to your car. The car insurance will help pay for the damages. So an interesting thing about car insurance is that it's different depending on your gender and your age. So the company essentially decides how risky you are. The highest risk category is teenage boys or young men. So for some reason, the car insurance company has calculated that the population, the group that is most at risk to get in car accidents is 18-year-old boys, 18-year-old men. For that reason, the policy cost is higher because you're more likely to get in an accident and need to take money from the company to pay for your damages. So as you can see in the graph, I just say all that so you can basically understand the trend in the graph. You can see the younger that you are as a man, the higher amount you'll have to pay in car insurance policy. And definitely you could think this is very unfair because perhaps you're a super responsible teenage boy and you don't think it's fair that you have to pay this really high amount just because other teenage boys tend to get in car accidents. But that is how the insurance cost can be calculated. So basically, if you're young, you'll pay a high amount in car insurance because you're a more risky customer, essentially. And then as you get older and older and older, so 19, 20, 21, 22, you slowly start to pay less and less for your car insurance because your risk goes down. You're less likely to get in a car accident. So over time, as you get older, good news is that you'll pay less and less each month for your car insurance policy. And that's the general trend of the graph. We have a slope of negative 315, which means that with each additional year that you age, your car insurance cost will go down by $315. So the amount you pay will decrease by $315 every birthday you have, essentially. So when you turn 19, you'll pay $315 less. When you turn 20, you'll pay another $315 less. You'll save about $300 each year that you age. The y-intercept, this 8,986, that would represent the initial value or the amount that you pay for car insurance at the very beginning. So when you first start to drive, when you first get your license, you first get your insurance policy, you'll pay about $8,000 according to this, which seems like a lot for your car insurance policy. Okay, so let's go through the statements one by one and see which ones make sense with the information we have based on the equation in the graph. The first statement says, every 19-year-old in this group has a lower cost of car insurance than the 18-year-olds. Interesting. So each individual point, scatter point here, is representing a person, which could be helpful to think about. So for example, this person represented by this point in the scatter plot, they are 19 years old, a 19-year-old boy, and they are paying just under $3,000 for car insurance. So we can match up the data points in that way. Over here, this is the person who's paying the highest amount for car insurance in the group. This is an 18-year-old boy, and he's paying about $3,500 for his car insurance. So each one of these points represents an individual person. So if we look at just the age group, we have, for 18-year-olds, you can see we have 3 18-year-olds, right? We have 3 points that are directly above the 18 marker on the x-axis, representing the 3 18-year-olds. And then again, we have 3 19-year-olds. So 3 points plotted directly above 19 on the x-axis. Okay, so every 19-year-old in this group has a lower cost of car insurance than the 18-year-olds. This is a little bit vague, but I'm going to say not true, because see, these 2 19-year-olds are actually paying more in car insurance than these 2 18-year-olds. So these 2 points representing the 2 19-year-olds, actually, they're paying closer to $3,500 for car insurance on the y-axis, and these 2 18-year-olds are paying closer to $3,000 on the y-axis. So you can actually see when you look point by point that there are definitely 19-year-olds who are paying more in car insurance than 18-year-olds. And that could be because of a bunch of factors. Maybe they are using a different company that charges more. Maybe they have other factors that lead them to be evaluated as higher risk car owners and drivers. So I'm going to say, no, that's not true. I'm not going to check it. Next statement. Car insurance policy cost tends to decrease as the age of the driver increases. So the cost decreases as age increases. Is that true? Cost decreases, we can see this negative slope, as age increases from left to right. That makes sense. Also logically, that makes sense. The older that you are, the less risky that you are. So therefore you pay less in car insurance, giving us this negative slope over time. So that is true. C, the slope line of best fit shows that in general, the cost of a car insurance policy for a 21-year-old should be on average about $315 less than the cost of a car insurance policy for a 20-year-old. Okay, that is a very long sentence. The important thing here is that we have the 315 less. So when you're 21, when you're 1 year older, you're going to be paying about 315 less than you were the previous year. And we already talked about that. That is true. That's what the slope means, is that each year that you age, you're paying about $300 less in car insurance, according to the equation. Okay, last statement. The y-intercept from the line of best fit shows that a car insurance policy would be $0 for a person who is about 8.897 years old. This makes no sense in the context, because why would someone who is 8 years old have a car insurance policy? That's not really relevant information from the model. We don't really care about what car insurance would cost for someone who is 8 years old because they're not driving. And it also doesn't really make sense because we can see the y-intercept would be somewhere, if we were to continue this line of best fit, it would intersect the y-axis somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000. It would definitely not intersect the y-axis at 0. So the y-intercept would be much greater than 0. So that doesn't make sense in multiple different ways. Okay, so hopefully this explanation was helpful. You're going to go through below this video, try the problem again, and then type out an explanation of what you learned from trying this problem again after hearing the full explanation. Okay, thank you for listening.